Okay. That's it. I'm not gonna sit here and good cop and bad cop you, alright? All I wanna know is why you did it. You're trying to make me look like a fool. That you try to outsmart me, make me look like a fool, was not gonna happen. We got you here, I'm talking to you right now, and I wanna know, why'd you do it? Just tell me. I try to do things right. I try to notify people around here what they need to try to do. Look at this badge. Give me this thing. Look at this badge. You think you just get one of these things? No, you gotta earn this badge. You gotta serve the people of the tri-states with great information on sports and knowledge and all that stuff. So tell me, why'd you do it? I listened. I heard from the power. I listened to the basketball gods. They said, think outside the box this year. Pick some different teams in the Final Four. Well, that's what I tried to do. And then I tried to mix in a powerhouse, and I picked, well, what happened? I picked Duke. And what Duke do? Couldn't get to the second round, man. Just tell me, why? And I go, oh, Florida Gulf Coast and Nevada. Oh, sure, how about Northern Kentucky? No. Look like a dang nincompoop in the paper. Just tell me, why? Why'd you do it? Why'd you betray me? Mark, you're so like. Duke, Nevada. Oh, hey, Chief.
Ortman, you've lost control. I'm gonna need to have your badge.
My badge? Oh, my badge. Hello everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Telegraph Herald More Than the Score, presented by Dubuque Auto Plaza. I am your host, Steve Ortman. Alongside me this week, Telegraph Herald sports editor, Jim Leitner. Jim, how's it going?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Doing well? Well, it could be better because my bracket, like so many people probably across the nation, my bracket, I could use a sound effect here. I'm going to go with...
Well,
bracket.
Fortunately, in my neighborhood, the recycling truck comes around on Friday mornings.
Yeah.
So my bracket was in the recycling bin Friday morning. So,
Yeah.
I don't even know if I could accurately tell you who I all had picked. I know I had UCLA. That was one of the teams that I had going to the Final Four. But otherwise, my bracket was toast by Friday morning. So I don't even. I'm moving on to the NCAA Division I hockey bracket.
Who isn't?
Which is, see, that's a little bit more my speed. And I've got Denver in the top half of the bracket and Minnesota Duluth in the bottom half. Those two teams are going to go to the Frozen Four in Chicago, United Center, and play for the championship. So my bracket is still 100% intact because they don't start till Friday.
That's right. I think in my bracket I got Blackhawks, Saints, the Blues. Does that sound right?
Not
Blues
even close.
No?
Not even
I'll
close.
have to double check that. But back to basketball. I had Duke win it all, kind of, hot off that ACC tournament championship, and, I need another one. Let's see, let's go. Second round and done. But the Wisconsin Badgers sure find a way, don't they, Jim?
You know, this is probably one of the coolest sporting events we have throughout the entire season because there's so much unpredictability involved with it. You know, you take a team like Duke. I think a lot of people had them making an extended run or going to the Final Four, and it doesn't always work out that way. You know, you see a lot of 2 seeds, 3 seeds, 4 seeds that are, you expect to go a long ways, don't make it. So I think that's what the unpredictability is really the thing that makes this such a special event. And, I guess that's why they call it March Madness. But it's a fun tournament to watch. And for me, my bracket was destroyed by Friday morning, but it's still, I almost root for those teams that are they're pulling the upsets. And I don't wager a lot of money on my bracket, which is probably a good thing. But it's probably a good thing. So, but it's nice to follow that tournament and see the upstarts go through it, and there's so many teams and so many conferences that you don't know a whole lot about. So it's hard to predict some of those big upsets, and it's all about matchups as well, and it's hard to predict those matchups unless you're really into it.
Sure. Now every time around this time of year, March Madness is going on. We're finally putting a bow on the winter sports season. Just last week, Shullsburg and Darlington boys basketball both made runs to the state championship games. They've both finished as runner-up. Jim, what did you see from these teams as they kind of made these runs last week?
It's interesting, and I watched quite a bit of both finals, and Jerry Pettigrew, who's the basketball coach at Cuba City, was doing the color analysis on the broadcast, and he talked about how both of those schools, you can almost see it coming for the last few years, because those kids have been playing together for many years, on the AAU circuit or the youth basketball circuit. They've been playing together. They've been playing high level of competition for years. So it's not really a surprise that they made it, but it's still kind of cool because both those schools, they really hadn't been to the state tournament since the early 1990s. And up in Wisconsin, it's a lot more difficult because they only take the Final Four, as opposed to like in Iowa where they take the Final 8 in each class. Up there, it's only the Final Four. So it's tougher to get to the state tournament up there. And, it says a lot about those kids and the programs that they come from that they're able to make it that far.
Yeah, Shullsburg to state for the first time since 1991. Darlington goes for the first time since 1990. And you look at these schools, Darlington, they lost to Milwaukee Destiny in the final. Shullsburg loses to Barneveld. First state championship for Barneveld in boys basketball. But for Shullsburg and Darlington, it's really kind of interesting parallels this year as far as the success they've had as a school.
Well, for sure. Both schools went to the state finals in football. Darlington has an outstanding cross-country program. I know the girls' basketball programs were really good too. So it's kind of interesting to see how those schools kind of go in cycles, and they have really good athletic classes or a couple of them in a row that enable them to go that far in the tournament. But it's not a surprise to see a good football program make an extended run in other sports because there's a lot of athleticism involved in football, and you see too at those smaller schools where you're really depending on kids playing 3 and 4 different sports. It's not a surprise that they have success in a lot of different sports.
Sure. Now as we look ahead, gosh, we're a couple weeks away from tennis, golf, track and field is starting to get underway, and spring baseball and softball. For my money, it's a little chilly right now to be playing those sports.
It did. East Dubuque and Galena actually got started this week, and I know the East Dubuque basketball players, probably didn't have a lot of time to practice baseball before they had to go out and play games. So we had kind of a mild winter, so now it does feel a little colder out now, but I never really liked going out and covering a game with a winter jacket on or having to bring my mittens to a baseball game. It's kind of rough, but it's an exciting time of the year. There's so many sports going on, and it's great to see a lot of kids involved.
All right. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm gonna go fill out my official bracket. This is gonna be my official one.
For hockey?
Oh, for basketball.
For
it's
basketball,
not too late, right?
It's easy to do that now.
Yeah.
I mean, all you have to do is look in our Agate page and you find all the results. But I'm still sticking to my NCAA hockey bracket. I think that's one it's still clean right now. There's not a lot of red marks on it, so that's the one I'm banking on right now.
All right. Well, we'll be sure to keep tabs on that, Jim. Anyway, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Telegraph Herald More Than the Score, presented by Dubuque Auto Plaza. I am your host, Steve Ortman. For Jim Leitner, we will see you next week.